Okay, the Avant aluminum railing, 36 inches complete. So there it is. A lot of work, a lot of detailed work, a lot of drilling, but it looks nice. There's the railing down the stairs. A little bit of balusters that are loose on this side. It's one of these right there. I'm gonna have to fix that one. There you have it. Looks pretty good. Here, nobody would even know all the imperfections.
So for the post, I'm using 3/8 inch diameter, 5.5 inch length, hex bolts, Z plated, flat washers, 3/8 inch, and the nuts, 3/8 inch.
Okay, so here's all the tools you're going to need to install these Avant railings and posts. You need a tape measure, speed square, utility knife, a couple clamps to hold the railings on. Of course, you're going to need a level, a good pencil so that you can erase some of the marks if you need to. Crescent wrench to secure this support bracket. You're going to need a T25 Torx bit, preferably if you got a cordless drill, that would work better. You're going to need about a 60 tooth fine tooth carbide blade to cut the aluminum. 3/16 drill bit to drill the holes for the screws for the brackets. Some painter's tape to put over the railing so you don't scratch it. You might need some of these shims, composite shims for the posts and the railing brackets and the straight brackets, and you're going to need some knee pads unless you're a young buck. That's it. That's what you need. So now I've got one bolt in there, and I can take it out with my fingers. Now I'm going to go below and make sure it's looks good underneath. Kind of get it straight visually with the house. So now that I got my first bolt in there and I've got my post straight, now I take a Sharpie and I mark in the hole exactly where it's supposed to be. So now I know where to drill the hole. And I want to do this for every hole because it just makes it a lot simpler than trying to use the template. Even though I have a hole there, I want to make sure I have it exactly aligned properly. So after drilling this hole, I realize I can't, it's not straight. There's my hole. I don't know how I got that wrong, but I got two more that I better drill correctly, and then I'm gonna have to drill this again. But it's not aligned right. I can't even get the bolt in there. so I don't know what I did wrong, but that's what I mean. You gotta measure a million times and cut once. So that black dot is where I should have drilled, so it won't be a problem because this will cover up that imperfection. Okay, I got all the 4 bolts in. There they are. They come out. So these 2 holes here, I had to use a 1/2 inch on these. I don't know why. Maybe this board is moving around, and I think it is a little bit. But anyway, that's the 4 holes. So after I tighten up the bolt, I see that the post is not level, so I'm going to have to put some shims under this side here. So after putting that shim in there, now it's level. So I'm good to go. That side and that side. So here's the final post. And that little cap there hides all the imperfections. So there's the post. Looks pretty good. So on this post, I used lag screws here because there's a joist down here, and I used the bolts back here. And I had to shim it because this is a little bit higher than this. And here's the lag screws that I used, galvanized 3/8 inch by 4.5 inch, and of course my hex bolts 3/8 by 5.5. So you'll see here in a second. Here's my. So I have a beam going across, which has 3 joists. So here's the 2 bolts. I love bolts more over screws. If I can use bolts, I will. So here's the 2 bolts. The other 2 are into this joist right here. So you have to measure exactly to get in the center. So there you go. So if you're removing these posts from the box, they come like this. This is how it's packaged. I just came across a neat way how to get this cover off without having to take those little set screws out. So you take this off like this. Bring this cover down and just let it drop as you're holding up the post. There you go. And it comes, the top comes off. Otherwise it's hard to get that top off. So here's the Avant. These are the aluminum panels for stairs. So that's what they look like. And then there's straight panels. Aluminum railing panels for straight applications. So that's going to be on top of your deck. Those are 6-footers and these are 8-footers. So don't make the mistake like me, and I bought the 42-inch ones instead of the 36-inch ones. So I almost installed the 42, but thankfully the guy at Menards asked me, or he told me, he said, you know, these are the 42-inch. So anyway, I had a special order of the 36-inch. I'm just talking about the 36-inch here, 6 by 36-inch, the height, not the width. So what I want to show you now is that this little support bracket here is 3.5 inches. So from the bottom of it to the railing is 3.5 inches. Now, mine, you can see down here there's about 1/4 of an inch that it didn't go down. That's because when I put the 2x4 up there, so they say to put a 2x4 like this, you know, and put your railing on top of the 2x4, and you'll see that there is about a 1/4 inch gap there, and that's because my deck is not completely level. It's level here, but you can see that, you know, over there, that gap's all the way except for down here by this post. Come on. And so I had that post sitting on that gap, so on this next railing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the middle of the railing is actually 3.5 inches, so I don't get this gap at the bottom of this little support bracket. Alright? Okay, so I need to cut off of each end of this rail so it's even between the two posts. So what I've done is I've put my brackets on this end upside down just so that they don't fall off, and I just sit there like that, and I've got the support brackets on the bottom just so that I have the right height so that the support brackets sit on top of the deck, because that 2x4 over there is too high, because that side over there is too high of the deck itself because it's not level. Anyway, so what I'm doing now is, here's the end. So I put this bracket up here, and I could see that I need to cut about 3 inches off this railing. So basically I take 1.5 inches off each side. So my initial cut will be 1.5 inches off one side, and then I'll come back and put the brackets on and see if it measures right. But it should. But I want it exact, so I'll take 1.5 inches off one of the sides and then come back and remeasure. Remember the old adage, measure twice, cut once? Okay, I'm going to be making my cuts on this aluminum, and this blade is a Diablo 62 or 60 teeth carbide blade, and you can see here it's a D0760, and that works just fine. And I put painter's tape on the edge here so I don't scratch the paint, and I've already marked my lines here, and I'm going to cut 1.5 inches off the ends here. That blade you can get at Home Depot for $20. Okay, so I cut my 1.5 inches off this end, and I'm putting the bracket upside down on it just to make sure that it's right up against there. And then come over here, and there should be 1.5 inches over here. So I take my bracket, put it up here, actually like this, and I can see that 1.5 inches is probably what I'm going to need. Maybe a hair more than 1.5 inches to clear this here. But 3 inches divided by 2, 1.5 inches, and I think that'll work. And the bottom height is just perfect. Okay, so I made the cuts, and they look pretty good. This bracket on upside down. And fits in there really nice. Take my level. Look at that. That's perfect. that's perfect. So, got a nice rail there, and all I gotta do is mark these ends here. And what I'm gonna do here is take the bracket off, put it underneath here, like so. Get it like that, and mark the top and bottom, and then I can drill the holes and set that in there, and we're all done. Okay, so I take the railing back off, and now I've marked my top and bottom where my bracket goes, and I've put my bracket right back there, and then I put a little hole, pencil in where the holes are. So there's one right there and right there. So I'll drill those holes and put the bracket on and slide the rail right in there and screw it in. And then I'll have to drill the side hole too. But what I do is I do the bottom ones first. I do the bottom ones first. That way and then I re-measure the top. That way the bottom rail is sitting right snug on the deck. Okay, now I've got my two brackets here in the bottom. Okay, they're all screwed in, but they're not screwed into the railing itself yet, right here. But this support bracket is flush on the deck, which is what I wanted, and this is seated. This rail is seated in this bracket. Really is nice and snug. So is that one over there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-measure up here, because it may be off by a little bit, and I want all four brackets to be snug, or the railing to be seated. And you can see that this is just a little bit, that measurement is still right on, maybe a little bit low. So I'm going to erase that mark. That's a mark which erases really nice on this aluminum paint. And then I'm going to re-measure and then drill those out, and we'll be done. So this is important. What I normally do is drill one hole, put the bracket on, and you can see that I had drilled another hole in there, and for some reason on this aluminum, if you don't get your drill perfect, the bracket the hole is drilled a little bit lower. So now that I got this on, you know, I'm going to just drill the hole. Okay, so now that it's drilled, and I just take my self-tapping screw, now it's going to be perfect in there. Okay, I just drilled that hole, put that in there, so now it's nice and snug. Okay, all I got to do is put this cap on the right direction. Get it with one hand. Okay, I got the cap on. There's the railing, and the support bracket down there is seated on the deck, and it looks really good. It's nice and sturdy, firm, and it doesn't rattle. Okay, the first thing you want to do when you remove this stair railing is inspect it. Make sure everything is no dents and cracks. One thing, and now this is the top with this protective cover. So
make sure when you cut this, you make sure that this is even with this, so that you don't cut too much off on the other end. But anyway, inspect it. I noticed here that this was damaged, but the bracket will cover this, so I'm not too worried about that. And then one other thing is that when you go to bend, you know, this, when you go to bend this, see, you know, it bends up to, I think, 45 degrees. Make sure you don't bend it too much, because if you bend it too much, these spindles here will start to rattle. And I had that experience on one of those up there. So just don't bend it too much until you get it in place. And you bend it exactly the right degree you want it. Okay, here's the railing, and it's already at maybe 25 degrees. I might have to bend this a little bit more, but one of the things I wanted to show you is this is the top of the rail, that's the bottom, and you want to put, you know, top here down to the bottom of the steps, and you know, just a note for yourself, because when you get this up there, or you put it on your table to saw it, you're not gonna be able to remember which is the top and which is the bottom, because they look alike, and you might get it mixed up, and you don't want to cut the wrong end. So that's what I do, so that when I get through cutting and I'm putting it up on the stairs, that I know which way it goes and I don't have to think much. Alright, so here's the railing set in place, and for me, because my post was back farther than what's recommended, I had to use a 1-inch board instead of a 2x4. So this bottom rail is lower than in the instructions, but that's how I had to do a workaround for this post being back farther. It should be up here, but because of the way my deck was designed or built, that's how I had to do it. And so what I do is I set my rail up here, and I clamp it down, put it in place, and I actually put the bracket on right here. It's just sitting there. It's not attached. It's just sitting there. Okay. And the reason why I do that is so that I can mark this exactly where it should be, and then go ahead and put my clamp up here, or my bracket up here, and then I'm going to also do it. Okay, I'm going to put my bracket up here first, drill it, and then I come back, attach it, and then do the same thing on that. But the reason why I'm doing that is so that I get the exact measurement, and I don't mess up. So before I take my railing down, so I got that one up there where it should be. I marked it, and down here I'm just setting the bracket right next to the railing, so I know I've marked it where I think it should sit and seat in that bracket. So I'm going to cut that piece off from here to here, and then come back and set it here again to see if it's the right length for this side. Okay, so I cut this off, and this is snug right here, but when I come up here, this is off just a little bit, so you can see how it's, I need to cut a little bit more off down here, so that this whole rail comes up a little bit, so that this will meet up there where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to cut off another maybe 1/4 inch down there. So I cut another 1/4 inch off here, Now it's snug here. I come up to here and my bracket's sitting right there, right where that line was. And it's just right where I want it. Check the baluster for level. And it's right on. So I know that those brackets are where they should be up here. So I'm going to mark those, drill the holes, and put the railing on, and then I'll go back down there and do the same for that post. So I like to drill the first hole, put this up here, and then drill the second hole after I get the screw installed. Okay, I got this bracket secured and this bracket secured. Got the railing in there and got the railing up here. So what I'm going to do is put the screw in up here and down there, and then once I get those in, then I'm going to mark the brackets for that post down there, and I'll be done. Okay, so before drilling this hole, I went back and got the cover, the cap that goes on here, and put it on here so that I can drill one time the cap and then the railing and through this bracket. So don't forget to bring that cap, put it back on the top of this rail, and then down there I'll mark it too. Okay, I drilled that, put the screw in there. So now this bracket and the rail is secured up here. Screwed in there, secure down here, and my baluster is level. My post is level, and I got at least, let's see here, got at least, I think they say right here there's like 3 1/4 to 3.5 inches between that first baluster, and it's pretty close to what's over on that other side. That other side's 3.5, but nobody's gonna be inspecting my railing to see if its baluster is the same as the other side. All right, here I am on the bottom bracket. So those two up there I got secured, and they're in there. So this one I have the bracket just sitting on there, and what I did is I made a line. I put a line here, so when I move this, I put a line there, and this is where I need to cut, and I just scribbled out this line right there because I just want this line so I know what the angle is of the cut. But because when you got this up here, you can't make a line right here. So I just make a little mark right there where I kind of look like right here, and I can see where that mark is right there. I put a little mark there, and then I move this down, and I could see that this is what the angle should be, and then I just make the kind of eyeball it and draw a line very similar to this one. And then I scribbled it out so I don't cut that, and then I go like this and erase it so I don't cut that line, but at least I know what the angle is going to be right there. And then I mark it at the top here, and so when I take this off, I know where to put the bracket in. And I'll do the same thing with that down there. Okay, so I marked this one, and I drilled the holes, got the bracket on there, and then I marked that one down there, but you see, I can't drill those holes. I'm going to have to take that post off and then drill the holes because I can't get my drill in there. It'd be nice to have a 90-degree drill, but I don't even think I can get that in there. So I will take that post off, drill, put that bracket on, and see how it goes. Okay, so I got that bracket on. I did screw that in, so I got the railing up there nice and tight. This is all tight, and I'm going to remeasure this last one because when you drill these screws, sometimes it might be off a 1/16 of an inch. So I'm just going to put that back on there and remark it and apply pressure from underneath here just to make it nice and tight against the post, and then remark that and then drill it. Okay, took the post off, drilled the 2 holes, gonna put the bracket back on and put the post back on and attach the rail, and we should be good to go. All right, I got all the brackets on, all the caps on, and it's looking nice. There's that one down there, and it's nice and snug. Now, notice this one over here. You hear that? There's a couple balusters that are loose, so I got to replace this, take that back and replace it, and they said they'll do it. So but before they do that, I'm going to take it off there and I'm going to cut the existing or the replacement one and just take this one, make this a template, cut the new one based on these measurements on here, so I don't have to go all the way through that again. And that panel right there was damaged in the delivery, so I had that one replaced. So make sure you inspect all your panels when you get them from Menards.